Coming up at 11, damage left across Kentucky as strong winds and storms move across the area. We're tracking the damage tonight.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Keaton Hall. We'll get to the storm damage coverage in just a bit, but some relief is on the way to help with this week's heat wave. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has the latest. Evan?
Well, Keaton, the good news, our storms are well off to our east now. It's been several hours since those storms moved through, and things are all quiet here in the mountains on this Friday evening, and much cooler as well. I-64 at Moorhead all is moving smoothly on the interstate at this hour. London Corbin Airport, they sit at 74, so it is a little mild, but that is a whole lot different from the 80s we've been dealing with at this time the past few nights. Highs today still were hot. They were not record-breaking for the first time in 5 days, but we did manage to get into the upper 80s and low 90s in some spots. Outside right now, about low to mid 70s. We're slowly watching cooler and drier air move in. Spot the storms. Storm reports from the last 24 hours concentrated along and north of the Mountain Parkway and in the Big Sandy. Also a second area of storms causing a lot of tree damage across portions of the Cumberland Valley as well. So it was a rather stormy afternoon around the mountains. Contrast that with what we've got going on now. It's all quiet. Still watching that front on the way, though. Our storms are well off the Atlantic coast, and we're done with them. So for tonight, mid-60s, low 60s, as a matter of fact, with skies turning mostly clear. I've got the latest on how nice of a weekend it looks, plus when heat could return. That's coming up in a few minutes. Keaton?
Thank you, Evan. In some areas of Pike County, folks saw strong winds and heavy rains, which caused damage to nearby homes and businesses. WYMT's Jordan Mullins has more from Pike County Emergency Management, as well as from one family whose home was affected by the storm.
Strong storms swept through much of the region, but some areas of Pike County were highly affected.
Hit this part of the county about 10 after 2, somewhere thereabouts. Was not a, like I said, it was a fast-moving storm, so it wasn't something that stayed very long, but was a lot of destruction in the time that it was here.
With winds reaching highway speeds, many businesses in South Williamson and Belfry saw damage.
Some of these storms that were coming through were 60 to 80 mile an hour winds.
But trees also fell across roads, and some homes were also affected by the winds. Eric Smith, who lives in the Aflex community of Pike County, is just one of those affected by the strong winds.
High winds just come all at one time, and within 2 minutes, it knocked this tree down into my trailer, man. She just had come through the back door and was standing there talking to me, said, the winds is blowing, and the tree hit the trailer right here at the door.
But Smith is remaining thankful and said things could be much worse.
Thank God that she wasn't hurt, because if it fell this way, it would have come across her swimming pool, and she was in it, you know what I'm saying? And I thank God for that. I can replace the house, I can't replace her.
Leaving families and businesses to pick up the pieces. In Pike County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Jackson says if some areas across the region are still without power, to be patient with the linemen who are working hard to restore it. Well, speaking of power outages across the region, thousands are still without power tonight, and officials expect it could be days before it's back everywhere. I went out to Floyd County today to see how restoration efforts were going. It's taking a village in Prestonsburg to clean up after Friday's storms swept through downtown.
Our fire department, our police department, our public works, our parks department, they were all out finding areas, just trying to clear up some of the main thoroughfares.
Heavy winds leveled trees and brought down power lines around Floyd County.
We had a lot of trees down, a lot of power lines down. We still have some cars that are covered up. No major housing damage that's been reported yet.
Leaving many eastern Kentuckians in the dark Friday night. Kentucky Power officials report that more than 24,000 were without power at one point Friday. As of 9 p.m., still 16,000 waiting to be restored.
You know, some will be restored this evening. A lot of them will be restored tomorrow on Saturday, and but there will be some lingering outages all the way through the weekend and likely on Monday and hopefully not Tuesday.
Prestonsburg, like many cities in the region, was hit hard by the outages.
Here in your city, we have 1, 2, 3, probably I'd say maybe 1,500 houses are out without it right now, if I was guessing.
But help is on the way.
Luck was on our side because as these other states are wrapping up their restoration, even as far as like Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, some of those areas, the crews were being released today, so they're now rerouted and on their way to help us with power restoration, and we expect them to roll into town tomorrow morning.
Hoping for a quick recovery as scorching temperatures are expected again by early next week. Kentucky Power spokesperson Cindy Wiseman says they'll have a better idea of exactly how long restoration efforts are going to take after tomorrow morning. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be a silent but deadly killer. The best way to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning is setting up alarm detectors in common spaces of your home. If the alarms go off, everyone should exit the building immediately and call for help.
Immediately call 911, use a neighbor's phone, and don't enter the residence until emergency services arrive.
There's no odor or color when carbon monoxide gas is being released into your home. Experts say there's no way to know on your own until it's too late. Yesterday, we told you about 2 escaped inmates in the Pike County area who police say walked away during work release around 1 p.m. Police say they have new information on 30-year-old Logan Hall and 42-year-old Larry Foster. Police say they believe the escaped inmates are driving a blue 2014 Kia Sorento with Kentucky plates reading 638YFX. While the Laurel County business community sees continued economic development, some business leaders are planning for the future workforce. Deanna Herman, CEO of the London Laurel County Chamber of Commerce, says the chamber will work with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to mail books to children 5 years old and under in the county.
We are working on all of our upcoming leaders to be good readers. As we know, if you can read at 3rd grade level, you're more likely to graduate from high school, you're more likely to graduate from college.
The program is not ready just yet. Herman says the final details are coming together and a website to sign up will be available in August. Horse Mania is in Lexington right now. You can go see all 160 horses and foals in one spot. They're lined up at Ashland, the Henry Clay Estate. Students from the Stewart Home and School worked together to create a horse for LexArts Horse Mania. The Stewart Home is a school in Frankfort serving people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. Students from the school created a horse representing love in any language.
We thought that represented us both the cultural diversity that we have as well as the neurodiversity that we have.
The Horse Mania preview will be at the Ashland Henry Clay Estate today and tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Former Kentucky basketball player and radio color commentator Mike Pratt has died. He was 73. Pratt had a storied career on and off the court, eventually becoming a UK Athletics Hall of Famer. Red Spotted Newt bookstore owner Mandy Scheffel says when Pratt came on a book signing tour, you could tell he loved the fans.
He seemed to put everybody at ease with his conversation. You know, I think he was really easy to talk to and was able to connect with people. So I'm really grateful that they launched the book here, and I'm happy that I was able to meet him.
You can read more about Pratt's impact at WIMT.com. A new study from Norton Healthcare in Louisville is showing that we may need a few extra hours of Z's to stay healthy. Most teens should be getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. There are a lot of physiological changes teens go through which actually causes them to sleep later. There's a shift in the timing of their circadian rhythms. Before puberty, the body makes you sleepy around 8 or 9 p.m. But when puberty starts, this rhythm shifts a couple hours later. Norton Healthcare sleep specialist Dr. Kevin Trice says give your kids some grace over the summer if they're sleeping in just a bit.
Yes, letting them stay up to a reasonable hour for appropriate reasons, because that's what their body wants to do, not because they're playing video games and hanging out with friends until the wee hours of the morning, but sleeping in later may be more natural. So again, if they're sleeping till 2 or 3 o'clock, that's one thing, but after 10 a.m. is fairly normal for late 13 to 18-year-old patients. And I think we have to kind of realize that's the norm for them and not really push them to wake up at 7:30 every morning just because we have something we want to do.
Put electronics away at least an hour before bed. Children and teens should get no less than 7 hours of sleep. Coming up at 11, senators in Washington hope to have new gun legislation finished by the time they go on a 2-week break starting July 4th.
And absolutely gorgeous weather works in as we head into the weekend. I've got the breakdown on that and when the heat looks to return. That's coming up next.